Good morning, class. I want you to find a seat on your mat. You can be seated on a block or you can be off of a block. It's your choice. Most of us tend to sit like this with crisscross. What I want you to do is try to put one foot in front of the other shin and sit up somewhat tall and just find a nice good position. It might feel a little strange, a little awkward the first time that you do it, just simply because we're so used to doing this and our hips become uneven. So after a few times of trying this, you get used to it and your hips start to level out a little bit more. So I want us to start off either on a block or not, completely your choice. And just find a comfortable seated position. So I'm going to start off, and sometimes we are breathing more in our upper chest and not more into our belly, and we tend to not take those full breaths. And then it becomes hard to just say, close your eyes and completely relax. So I want you to just keep your eyes open for right now, and just start off by rolling those shoulders up and back, and just checking in and getting a little movement into your body. And you can go one arm, you can go the other, you can roll them forward. Just think about still keeping good position with your core and not rounding your back. So when you're coming, you're thinking about still keeping good posture and moving the shoulders up and back and not being like here or in a bad position. So just think about body position because it's important. And you're going to bring those arms all the way up. You're just going to gently go from side to side. So you can grab your wrist if you want to. And I'm just gently finding stretch all the way up the side of my body. And I might come back to center and then bring my arms down like a goalpost and bring my elbows towards my midline, towards my spine. But I'm still keeping good posture. And then bring the arms up. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bring it down. Maybe move your head very slowly, side to side, and just check in and see how it feels. No movements need to be done quickly. Check in and notice how your body feels before you go into that position. Nice, bring it all the way down. Might go side to side with my neck. I might help it a little bit, but I'm still keeping good body position, not forcing anything. Your body will allow you to go into positions when you're ready to. So come back to center. I'm gonna go chin to chest, take my right hand, place it on the back of my head, keeping good body position, gently take a deep breath in. On my exhale, bring my chin towards my chest. You should feel a stretch in your upper back. If you're feeling pain, then back off of it. I'm going to come back to center. I might go side to side. And then I'm going to gaze up at the ceiling. I'm going to bring my teeth together. And then I'm going to open my mouth really wide. And then close it. Stretch all in your neck. Bring it back to center. Side, side. Look forward, look down. Now one more thing, bring it back to center. What you're gonna do is keep your body in a nice tall position so everything's stacked. And I'm gonna gently turn to one side and see how far I get. Come back to center and go to the other side. You might notice a difference in sides, and you might be able to get further in one side than the other. That tells me a lot about what we need to work on in your body. So I want you to find a good position, comfortable position. We should have a little bit more relaxed breathing now. So it's one of those little tricks that I use to allow you or to get you to notice your breath and then notice where it's at. So usually it's kind of like, oh, I'm nervous or a little nervous energy or whatever it may be. I get that. That is where I notice, and when I start moving my body, I start forgetting about how I'm breathing, and then I start breathing more into my belly. So it's just a trick, and it's a tool that I use to allow you to get a little more comfortable in your space. So we're gonna bring our hands, they can either be palms up or palms down, and you can go ahead and relax the shoulders down from your ears and take a few deep breaths in through your nose. Send it down into your belly as you exhale out through your mouth and let the shoulders come down from the ears. Take just a few moments before you even close your eyes, just to kind of stare off and just focus on that breath. Where is it going? Is it stopping in the chest? Are you allowing it to go down into the belly and let it get big like a balloon? And as you start to feel more comfortable, just slowly start to close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. And just start to notice the rhythm of your breath. And as you start to settle into that space, start at the very just crown of your head, just slightly above it. And just kind of notice the energy, notice how you feel when you think about that space above your head. And then start to bring your attention all the way down from the crown of your head, all the way down your spine to your tailbone, and then all the way into your toes. And just noticing what feels absolutely amazing to you. What might need a little love and attention today? And then notice how you check in with your mind. How are you talking to yourself? What words are you saying to yourself? Are they more negative or are they more positive? Because those things will affect how you go on with your day, how you react to things. So checking in with your internal talk is just as important as checking in with your breath in your body. So deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth and just noticing that breath going up and down. Kind of like you watch a little like light up dot start at the top of your head and go all the way down to your toes and then go all the way back up again. And you're just slowly checking in and noticing your breath, noticing your body, and noticing your internal mind and your internal talk. And you're probably starting to notice that your shoulders are coming down from your ears, your sit bones are pressing into the block or the floor, and you're starting to just relax into your belly and your belly breathing. And that's where we want you to go. We want you to get into that parasympathetic. We want you to really relax your breathing and really focus on that breath because you have control over that breath. It's such a unique thing. We can involuntarily do it, we do to breathe and live, but we can also control how we breathe at times. Fascinated by breath. So take 2 to 3 more deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. And you're going to slowly open your eyes. You'll come off your block. You'll set that to the side. And then we'll go ahead and bring ourselves to tabletop. So in tabletop, I'm going to set myself up where I'm going to be about, I'm going to be stacked to my, from my shoulder, elbow, and wrist. So I'm not like way out here, I'm stacked here. And same thing with my other hand. So I'm kind of making a box is what I'm doing. I go a little wider between hip and shoulder than directly underneath my hips. Give myself a little bit more room. So I'm going to do a little cat-cow. So we want to think about neutral spine here, nice flat back. And then what I'm going to do is just slowly drop down my belly. If this doesn't feel really good, you can always not go as far. Now, if you're like, oh, I don't feel anything in this, I'll show you an alternate way to do that as well in a moment. So I'm going to come back to center, come back to neutral, and then press through my hands and reach up like a scared little cat so I get a nice stretch in my back. And then I'm gonna bring it back down to center. Now, you can go back and forth with cat-cow until you just basically connect your breath to it. If you don't feel a whole lot when you are in here, in a cow position, then I come here. And the reason I do is because then that way, because I tend to be able to hyperextend a little bit, so that way I can be here and then just take a deep breath in, exhale, back to center, and then press through my palms of my hands and my fingers and stretch up like a scared little cat. And that includes your head and neck. So many times we do this. Watch, I come up to cat, and then we hold tension in our neck. Think about relaxing your head and neck down, pressing through the palms of your hands, and finding that nice little stretch. Nice. So let's stretch those shoulders a little bit more. Again, my setup is the same. My hips are between, or my knees are between hip and shoulder. I'm gonna take this left hand to the outside of my mat. I'm gonna bring my hips over to the left, and then I'm gonna feel a stretch in my inner right thigh. I'm gonna then bring my hips over to my right, and I'm gonna feel a stretch in my inner left thigh. Now I'm focusing on not dropping my ribs down, so I'm not wanting to do that. I wanna keep that nice position. And then what I'm gonna do is roll that right arm up the side of my body. And I can adjust my knees however I need to. Now, keeping my ribs in, I'm gonna take my right hand and I'm gonna thread it through. So back of hand, back of arm, back of shoulder. I'm being mindful about how I place my body down, and I'm using the back of my hand to get a nice little stretch in my back. Now, I'm not gonna stay here. I'm gonna bring it back up with my breath. So I'm gonna inhale, and then I'm gonna exhale. And I'm gonna go 2, 3, maybe 4 breaths and find what feels amazing to me and find that really good body position. Because rarely do we get into this position the best, like the absolute perfect the first time. So using your breath to connect your breath to that movement and find the best body position for you is where you wanna be. Now, you can take your left hand and keep it right here, and you can see I can press in to that palm and bring up my chest a little bit more. I'm finding a nice, good position here. Now, if I feel really good in this position, I can take my left hand and bring it up high to the sky. I can leave it here. I can externally rotate it and bring it to my low back, but I wanna make sure this shoulder isn't rounding to the floor. So I wanna make sure I'm grounding into this right arm, externally rotating that shoulder and using my fingertips against my low back or reaching for my right quad to open up that shoulder. And now we're trying to try to breathe and not let it just come into our upper chest. We want to think about relaxing that breathing back. Now release whenever you're ready. If you're bound, bring that hand back to the floor and then bring yourself back to tabletop. You're gonna cat-cow, and then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So I'm gonna turn so you can see me. So this time we're gonna take our right hand to the outside of the mat. We're gonna bring hips over to the right so we feel that stretch in the inner left thigh. We're gonna bring hips over to the left and keep them in the inner left thigh. Roll that left arm up your body. Thread it through, back of hand, back of arm, back of shoulder. Find that nice little stretch in your back and your spine. Keep your breathing just like we've been doing it. Nice and slow and controlled. And it might be 2 or 3 breaths. Once you find that, you'll set down the side of your head. You'll ground into the back of your hand. And this hand can either stay, the right hand can either stay right here, and you're still trying to find good body position, so you shouldn't have any pain in the low back. If you do, then you're probably not keeping a brace and you're probably overextending your back. So be mindful of that. Now I'm gonna roll my right arm up the side of my body. I wanna make sure my shoulder doesn't round forward. I'm gonna turn and externally rotate my hand, bring the back of my hand to my low back, and then bring that right shoulder back and down. I could reach for my left quad if I can reach it. And I'm trying to keep my breathing controlled, slow and relaxed. And release the hand. Bring it all the way back. Cat-cow a couple times. You can bring your knees a little bit more underneath you. Find a nice little stretch. Nice. Now, we're going to step our hands like about half a step forward. I'm going to curl my toes, and then I'm going to push my hips up and back, and I'm going to find my down dog. Ooh, I have tight calves. So, if you see here, I'm more of a triangle than I am a plank. So if you look down at your wrists and you see a big crease, I want you to think, and your heels aren't touching, right? I want you to think about pressing through your hands and pushing your butt back to the back of the room. Now suddenly you become a triangle. Now if you see this, because I can show this really well, you press to like really here, now you're just pushing. And like, we don't want to force ourselves into something. So we want to think about, so if you come to a plank, look at that, we can go plank. And then we can press through our palm of our hands and our fingertips and press our hips back, but keep our ribs in. So you're trying to find that nice triangle. Come forward into plank. This is a nice stretch. And then bring it back. Now this time we're going to come forward into plank, but we're going to come down into a cobra. So I might come all the way down, or I might come here. It just kind of depends what feels good to me. I might come all the way to the floor. If I come all the way to the floor, I'm going to press through my hands, squeeze my butt, keep my ribs in, and then press through my hands and lengthen up versus just doing this, right? So we want to think about pressing through our hands, keeping our ribs in, and lengthening up through our crown of our head and lengthening down through our toes. Now, bring it back to down dog. Walk it out. Now bend your knees, gaze goes up to your hands, step, hop, jump, float, fingertips to shins, we're gonna lengthen up. So ribs stay in, you're trying to make it like your back is a table and you feel the stretch down your hamstrings. Now you're gonna exhale and fold. Even if you can touch the ground, I want you to bend one leg deeply and then alternate and switch to the other side. You will feel this in the glute and the hip, and it will allow that hip and glute to open up a little more. And the next step is connecting your breath to that. Now bend both your knees, ground into your feet, roll yourself all the way to standing, stack every part of your body, squeeze your glute, bring it all the way up. My head cut off, I have to fix that. Exhale and fold it down. Bend and move. And if you have blocks, you can use those blocks if you can't get to the ground. Totally acceptable. Now, fingertips to shins, we're gonna lengthen up. Keep those ribs in. Plant your hands down, step back, hop back, jump back, high to low. So this is where you can either come all the way down or you can come down to knee and then come down. And then same as we were doing before, you can do Sphinx pose, you can press and keep those ribs in and lengthen up if you have low back issues. You can come baby cobra, same thing, press to the hands, keep the ribs in, or full on up dog. Then bring it back down, curl your toes, bring your hips up and back, walk it out. Now, we're gonna get our right foot to our hands. You can do that any way you'd like. I'll break it down just a little bit of what I see a lot of, and then how you can fix it. So a lot of times what we do is we just simply take our back leg and lengthen it up like this, right? So what I'm doing is I'm just using all back body. And then what we do is we bring our leg through, look, I don't even make it, and then I gotta get here, right? Because this is where we're trying to get to. So I use a little thing called physics to get ourselves in this body position. Now, you can always rewind this and practice, but I'll break it down really slow and then I'll do it fast. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come, I tend to step my hands back just a tiny bit, like half a step. And I'm gonna bring my right leg, my right knee in towards my chest, in between my hands. So I really made a triangle and I'm keeping my ribs in. Now, this is a lot of work right here. What I'm gonna do is lengthen back through my hands
and let my leg go high to the sky. See that? Now it's squaring my hips to the floor and make sure I'm not there. So let's see that again. So we come here, and then we come here. That is using your whole body. Now this is how, and then I'm gonna step my hands back. That's when I step them back, because then I can get into my back foot. Now what I'm gonna do from here is we're gonna come up on my tippy toe on my left. I'm gonna bring my right leg in and up to my chest as I hop on my left foot a little bit, and then I'm gonna bring my foot to my hand. See that? Look at that. And bring it all the way back. And that's how we get here. Now let me show you when we move fast, because that's moving slow. So let's move fast, okay? I'll walk you right through it. So here we go. Right knee towards my hands, lengthen high to the sky. Step my hands back, come up on my tippy toe, bring my right leg in and up to my chest, to my hands. Nice job, guys. There was a little breakdown for you. Now, I'm gonna make sure my feet have train tracks. I'm gonna bring down that back knee. I'm gonna relax that back foot. I'm gonna grab blocks if I need. So what am I doing? I'm gonna find a stretch in this hip, and we're gonna find that opposing hamstring. But we have to make sure we're in good body position for it. So if I didn't have blocks, I'd be down here, because I'm just simply short, right? And then I'm falling into my joints. I don't wanna do that. I wanna have good body position. So I'm gonna use my blocks. And what I'm gonna do is bring them here, and I'm gonna have a very slight angle on my front right shin. So you just wanna think like very slight. And this is here, not a box. So if you look like a box, you need to extend this leg back. From here, I'm gonna keep my ribs in, I'm gonna use my blocks. So it depends how tight I am, but I'm gonna press up. So you see how now I have a nice line from the knee all the way up. And I have a slight angle on my right shin. Now what I'm gonna do is, keeping this and not overextending it, I'm gonna press and line up my right knee with my right heel and grip down with my big toe and my pinky toe. So when I do that, I come into this. Ooh, and I feel a deep stretch right here. But yet I'm not pushing out my ribs, I'm not extending my back. And now I'm gonna breathe. We're gonna find this pose and we're gonna breathe. So you wanna think about, I'm not overextending to this. I'm pressing into this, but lining up my knee, grounding in and gripping with my big toe and my pinky toe, and finding this stretch just right here. Now we're gonna take a deep breath. On our exhale, I'm gonna hinge back my hip, but I'm going to keep my heel where it's at. It is not going to move. My toes are gonna come up. So I'm gonna take a deep breath. On my exhale, I'm gonna hinge back. Look at my heel, it stays where it's at. Notice my upper body, I didn't lose any of this. Now my stretch is all right here. So really it's thinking about body position and then connecting your breath to that. So we're gonna hold here for a moment. I'm not huge on holds, but what you'll find out is we're gonna hold and then we're gonna connect this to your breath. So it might not look like me because it depends what you've done during your week. So I'm gonna take a deep breath in. I'm gonna exhale, I'm gonna bring it forward. Oh look, I'm now back in that same position, isolating that stretch here. Now it's on me. Now I can take deep breaths in, exhale, bring it back. And you're just keeping those really good positions. And the blocks are there more so I can stay in a really good movement pattern. We want to strengthen those good movement patterns, and things like this do that. And we can have the time to focus and slow down. Nice. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this block to the side, and I'm going to put this other block to the side. I'm going to come back forward. And what I'm going to do is walk my right foot to the outside edge. We're going to open up some hips. Now, I want to make sure, if you see this right here from knee all the way up, I want to make sure that you are not like this. You do not want to be a box. You see that box? You don't want to be a box. You want to extend that leg back. Now, what I'm going to do here is on the inner part of my leg, my elbow, the outside of my leg, or outside of my arm is going to go up and down, and I'm going to connect my breath. I may get to the floor, I might not, but it looks like this. And I'm not riding the outer arch of my right foot, and I'm not pushing out my knee. This is all staying in line with my hip. So I'm going to take a deep breath, 90 degrees. We'll go like this. There we go. Right here. Okay, so we are not doing that. We're taking a deep breath right now. Exhale. You go where you can get without pushing the knee out. Inhale, you come up. Exhale, we'll go down. Now, if you get to the floor and you're like, I feel good, then you can walk your foot in about like half a step, and then ride the outer arch of that and open up that hip. Now, this is where I can't reach my blocks, but if I had blocks, I could be right here on my blocks. I can also take a block and place it right underneath my hip, and that way it helps to keep my low back and my ribs from necessarily sinking too far. So here I'm just gonna find a deep breath. I'm gonna breathe. And I'm gonna find 5 slow deep breaths. Inhale through my nose, exhale through my mouth. If I had my block, I'd be down in this a little further, but I don't wanna sink too far into my hip. Knowing you can always come out of these poses early and go into a child's pose if you need. Now on that 5th breath, I'm gonna hinge back that hip. Might be a little tight. I'm gonna come back on the heel. I'm gonna find the stretch in my hamstring. And then I'm gonna bring that leg back. I might hip circle for just a moment, and I might do both sides. And then I'm gonna make sure I have a block. And then I'll show you this from the side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring that right leg out about 45 degrees from my hip. And I'm gonna be on the heel. Now the second part of this, I wanna look down at my left leg. And if my knee is pretty much directly underneath me, I wanna move it out between hip and shoulder. Here's the other thing I wanna show you. I'll do it this way. So I'm gonna adjust my knee because my knee was here. If I look down and it's right there, I wanna open this up a little wider and then come back on those toes. I'm then gonna have a block. My focus is to keep my ribs in. So I don't want to overarch like that. I wanna keep it here. So I'm gonna take my block, I'm gonna be up on my heel. You're gonna feel this in your inner right thigh. I'm gonna take a deep breath. Exhale. And I'm gonna press back and feel that in my inner right thigh. I'm gonna keep my ribs in, and I'm just using this to stabilize and bringing my left glute back towards my left heel. Now you're gonna be like, whoo, right? Think about if you're breathing, if you're holding your breath, this is why I don't hold poses. This is why now we're gonna connect it. We're gonna inhale, we're gonna come back out of this pose. Yep, then we're gonna exhale. Bring it back. Inhale. And you go your pace, your breath. And you'll start to notice you can get a little further and a little further. Now bring it all the way back. We're gonna hip circle. I might do a little donkey kick, thinking about keeping my ribs in just to find, and then I hug it into my chest and just find a little movement. Nice. Now we're gonna curl our toes, bring our hips up and back. We're gonna find that down dog. We're gonna walk it out. I might lift my hands up, place them back down, lift my feet up, and just find good position for you. Now bend your knees, gaze goes forward, step, hop, jump, float. Fingertips to shins, lengthen up. Exhale and fold. Now check in from that right side to your left, because my right side I feel like I can just like fall on the floor. And my left side I'm like, ooh, a little tight, right? Now bend your knees, ground into the floor, roll yourself all the way to standing. And now we go where we want to go. I'm gonna adjust this so you can see me a little more. My bad. There we go. And we'll just, there you go, now you can see me. And we'll just move that back. Okay, so you're all the way up. You can go wherever you want. So I might go side to side. I might roll it all the way around. Now we gotta do the other side, right? So we gotta open up that other hip. So I'm just breaking it down slow for you guys today. And you know what? Slow is okay. It's totally okay to go slow. Because then we really feel our body and feel our breath and connect those two things together. So focus solely on that. If the other thoughts come to your mind, just push them aside. You don't need to worry about them. So bring the arms all the way up. Exhale, fold it down. Check that right from that left. Woo. Fingertips to shins, lengthen up. Ribs in. Plant those hands, step back, hop back, jump back. You're going high to low. Remember to press through your arms, forearms, keeping those ribs in and up, finding length in whichever pose you choose. Curl your toes, bring your hips up and back, find that down dog, walk it out. Now we're gonna come forward again with that left leg into bear crawl. So bring that right knee in between your hands. Then lengthen it high to the sky without pushing your ribs to the floor. Step your hands back. Come up on the tippy toe of your right, bring your left knee in and up to your chest, to your hands. Help it if you don't make it the whole way. Train track your feet, bring down your knee. Now here it's really easy for me to do this. See that? And I'm just falling into joints. So I want to think about good body position. So I need those blocks. I'm gonna line up and press and bring up a little bit. See what's good for me. I need that slight angle in my front shin, keeping myself tall, taking a deep breath, pressing and lining up my left heel, left knee with left heel, but not pushing my ribs and not overextending my back, looking for length all the way up your body. Take a deep breath in. Don't push your ribs out. Keep them in, find length. And then when you're ready, we're gonna come back on just the heel. So the toes are gonna come up, heel stays put. And I hinge back with my hips, keeping my ribs in, heel comes up. We find the stretch in the hamstring of the left. Whoo, so you're breathing. Once you find that position, you're just gonna breathe. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Now it's at your pace, your breath. So you come forward, you find that stretch. Find length. And then you go back and forth at whatever pace feels good. Big hip opener today. It's like the amazing hip sequence. Now I'm going to bring that leg back. I'm going to hip circle if I need, hug it in, do whatever feels good. Oh, my bad, I forgot one. Ha! So we're going to bring that back up again. Just kidding. We're gonna walk that foot to the outside edge. I don't need my blocks for this one. Now, I don't feel a deep stretch in my right, so I'm gonna come up on my toes. I'm gonna shimmy my toes back a little bit and then bring my knee down. Now, I'm not pushing out this leg yet. I'm gonna take my arm 90 degrees, inner part of my knee. I'm gonna take a deep breath. Inhale, exhale, lower. Ride your elbow down the inner part of your leg, inner part of your shin. Inhale, you come up. You might get to the floor, you're gonna notice a difference in your right and your left. My left, I can get to the floor really quickly. My right takes me more concentration, more breath work. Now, if you are there and you are like ready to open this hip up, you're gonna walk that foot about half a step. You're gonna ride the outer arch to the left. You're gonna keep, this is where it's easy to overextend your back. So if you take a block and you put it gently back on that right, like on your quad, This allows it to open up and allows you to keep a little bit more control of your ribs and your low back. And you can open up any which way. That feels good. So if you don't need the block there, you can also come here. If you need to stack 2 blocks, you stack 2. Just whatever works for you. Now, if you're not quite here yet, you can still be working that mobility drill and trying not to push out your knee and your foot, because that's beneficial as well. But notice my back. I'm not pushing my ribs out to the floor. I'm keeping a nice, solid brace like you would in almost anything that we would do in the gym. And I'm just gonna breathe. And then I'm gonna bring my hands back. I'm gonna hinge back my hip. I'm gonna find a stretch here in my hamstring. Nice, you guys. And now I'm gonna bring that leg back, and now we hip circle. We hug it in, we extend it up. And then I'm gonna push my blocks out of the way. I'm gonna curl. Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, I'm forgetting everything today. We gotta do a little 45-degree on the other side. So I'm gonna grab a block. I'm gonna do the same thing here. So I'll show you from this way. I'm gonna bring up my left leg about 45 degrees up from my hip. I wanna look at that right leg and make sure it's not directly underneath me. And I have a block. So I'm gonna bring that right leg out, knee out, stabilize with my back toes. Remember this stretch you will feel in the inner left thigh. So right now I'm just having a good body position and not overextending. So keeping it here. Now taking a deep breath. On the exhale, we're gonna press it back. So I'm pressing and I'm feeling this in my inner left thigh all the way down behind my knee. I'm keeping my ribs in. So the goal isn't to slide your heel back. It's just to inhale, come forward. Exhale. Find that stretch, find the edge of the stretch. Don't force into the stretch, and don't hold your breath. So if you notice your face tensing up or you're holding your breath, think about just relaxing your face, exhaling into the stretch. You'll get a little deeper and a little deeper each time. Then I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna hip circle. This is where we are now. And then I'm gonna curl my toes, bring my hips up and back, find my down dog, walk it out. Notice those legs. Notice how they feel. Notice those hips. Now bend your knees, gaze goes forward, step, hop, jump, float. Fingertips to shins, lengthen up. Exhale and fold, check in. See if you're like, whoa. Grab the back of your legs. Maybe you want to do my fave where I like to take my hand and I like to palm up and I like to step on my foot and then put my other hand on here, step on my foot. Now it's really easy to do this with our low back, right? I'm going to bring my shoulders back and down, keep my ribs in, and find a stretch in my hamstrings. Woo! Nice. Release your hands if you're there, bend your knees. Roll yourself all the way to standing, gentle little squeeze. Go where you want to go. Woo, nice. Hopefully we feel amazing. Okay, so let's do this. We're gonna step back. We're gonna reinforce the things we've been doing. And so we're gonna step back into a lunge. So this is was more of a hip opening. Slow it down. Let's see how we get into moves. So you don't need to be following with me exactly. You can always stay if you need a certain position, or you can always go to child's pose if you're like, oh, I can't hold that any longer, okay? So we're gonna step back into a lunge. So I'm gonna start standing at the top of my mat. I'm gonna step back with my left foot. Now, notice the line from the heel all the way up to my head. Now, my pelvis, though, is now tipping forward. So if it was a bucket, my pelvis looks like this. So I want to get it like this. So what I'm going to do is how I fix that is I'm going to bend my back knee, and then I'm going to squeeze my butt. So if I put my hand on my belly and a hand on my back, and I come from here, and I come down and bend the back knee, Squeeze my butt. Look at that, my pelvis goes in line. Notice how my front knee is lined up with my heel. Now what I'm gonna do, keeping this pelvis lengthened up, keep your pelvis, and then send the heel back, but do not touch that heel on the floor. You get a deep stretch right here in the left hip. Now, you do not wanna do this, okay? So you wanna keep this. If you need to come back to here, squeeze, lift, heel, but don't touch the floor. If you can maintain this, you're coming here, and you want to get deeper, you shimmy back that back foot. And then you can get a little deeper. See how that works? Nice. Now, you don't want to just pop out of this pose. You want to bring the hands down. You want to bend that back knee. Keep this position, step it forward. Whew. Hip circle it. Show you this one from the other side too. So it's really about keeping the pelvis and not allowing your pelvis to do this, okay? Or that. You wanna find neutral. This is neutral. So this is how I naturally stand. This is what my pelvis is doing. A lot of other people stand like this, right? So your pelvis is now dipping water back that way. And you wanna find this. So what do? Squeeze your butt. Everything kind of comes in line. Okay, we're gonna step back with the right. So I'm stepping back with my right leg. I'm gonna find this position first, because now if I go into it, I'm just gonna push into that hip, and I don't wanna do that. Think big toe if you're losing your balance. Bend the back knee, squeeze your butt. Hand to belly, a hand in the back. This glute and quad are like, whoo. Now we're gonna lift it up. We're gonna send that heel back to find that deep stretch, keeping our pelvis. If you want it a little deeper, we just shimmy those toes if you can keep that body position, and we get a little deeper into that. Keeping this, don't go there, go here. Arms come up. If you want to, they can always stay here. Can be all fancy with it. Whatever works for you. Keeping those ribs in, keeping that stretch isolated right here. Now, bend the back leg, step it forward. Whoo, hip circle it. My goodness. Whoo. Okay, shake it out. Go where you want for a moment. Bring it down to a forward fold, check in, maybe grab the back of your calves. Nice. Shake it out. Okay, let's do one balance pose, and then we'll do a little Shavasana. So let's work on tree, because we did that before, and it's a good one to work on, and our hips should be super open. So if you need something to hold on to, even if you have just a fingertip, it will help, okay? So think about your big toe, your pinky toe, in the center of your heel, and evenly putting your weight on your big toe, pinky toe, center of your heel. I'm gonna squeeze my right glute, find a nice tall spine, and then I'm gonna bring up my left leg. Now notice my toes are not pointed to the floor. They are flexed towards me, because that's gonna get me into my glute too. And I'm gonna own this position first. So I'm gonna think big toe, pinky toe, center of my heel, squeeze my glute. Now if I can own this position and not overarch my back, I'm gonna take my left hand down and grab my left ankle. You are not on your knee. You're above it, below it, or you're kickstanded on the floor. Now I'm gonna place my left foot in my inner right thigh, and I'm gonna press my left foot against my inner right thigh, squeeze my glute, and lock out my right leg. Now think about big toe, pinky toe, center of your heel. Find the balance, and your gaze is on something that's not moving. So notice how what I'm doing is not bringing my arms up yet until I find good position. I'll show you modifications after I get this pose. So from here, trees do move. So it's okay if your tree moves. But the goal of this is to come out of it the exact same way we came into it. So I'm gonna grab my ankle, I'm gonna bring it back here, and I'm gonna bring it back down. If you find really good body position, that glute will be like, whoo, right? Now, you continue to work on that. I'm gonna show you modifications for going here or going here. So you don't wanna be on the knee. And the reason is because when you lock that out, If you press against, it's more of an easier way to get injured versus getting it up here or down here. The other thing is even a fingertip here does help to keep balance. So when I'm here, I don't want to like push my booty out. I want to think about squeezing my butt and finding a nice tall tree. And now I have a finger on something and now I can take it away and find balance. So here's the other way, or where we would go on our, below our knee. So you go right, and then when you're done with right, you get that 1 or 2 times, you're gonna go to your left. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this leg up here, and I'm gonna bring it right here, and try to open that hip up, squeeze, 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 nice and tall. Now, or I can be here and kickstand it right here too. There's a lot of variations. You'll shake it out, and then you'll do the other side. All right, so same thing applies on this side. Big toe, pinky toe, center of your heel. Find that first, and then bring this leg up when you found it. Flex those toes, nice tall spine. I'm gonna reach down for my right ankle. I'm gonna lock out my left leg, and I'm gonna place my right foot in my inner left thigh. I'm gonna open my hip up, which is why we did all those hip openers. I'm gonna ground into that left foot. It's like part of the floor. Squeeze, squeeze your glutes. Hands come here. Or wherever you want to rock them. Your tree could be here. There are so many different looking trees. You guys have seen millions of different looking trees. And you're just owning this. And you're wherever you are at. You might be here. Ooh, just depends. Shake it out. Nice. Ooh, so you practice that and you try that and you work on those things, whether it's finger on the wall. Your body, if you're like all over the place, I've seen so many times where people just jump into poses like this and they don't think about it, and that's how we get injured. And that's why even having one fingertip on a wall, what that does is that allows your body and your mind to connect to each other and go, oh, this is what she's doing. I didn't realize that this is where she wanted to go. And then what happens is muscle memory. And suddenly you can take that finger off the wall. And suddenly you're holding this position and you're talking and you're breathing. You don't even need to talk. You just need to breathe. You just need to focus on your breath. Okay. So shake that out. We are going to find a pigeon pose. So we're going to come down. Actually, let's start from the top of our mat. So bring it all the way up. Stretch, see how that feels, because we're coming to the end of class. And then exhale, we're going to fold it down. And we're going to check in and see how loosey-goosey our legs are. Fingertips to shins, lengthen up. So you're finding length from the crown of your head all the way down to the tip of your tailbone, and you're feeling a stretch in your hamstrings. You're gonna plant your hands down, you're gonna step back, you're gonna hop back, you're gonna jump back. High to low. You go where is appropriate for your body today. Then meet me in down dog. Now, most of us has gotten the pigeon before. If we can't do pigeon this way, we can always go pigeon on our back. So I'm just gonna, you can get your leg here however you want. I would still like to come into bear crawl and lengthen. That's just my jam. And then I'm gonna bring my right knee towards my right wrist, and I'm gonna slide back my left leg. So I'm just gonna find a nice little stretch here. And sometimes I like to lengthen up first, so I'll be on fingertips, and then I'll press and keep my ribs in and up and find length of my spine. And then I might lower myself down. I might walk from one side to the other. But when I come down, I really want to try to not be on my shoulders. So many times I see us like this. And we're not really relaxing. So I want you to place your head to be placed on a block. You can really be wherever you want, but I'm going to try to get off of my shoulders. Or you can bring it all the way to the floor. And just relax those shoulders. And try to find a nice stretch. Deep breath in through your nose, exhale out through your mouth. If you're on your back, this is what this looks like. So I'm on my back. I'm gonna take my right ankle on top of my left knee, and then I'm gonna put my left leg at 90 degrees. My back should be nice and flat against the mat. I'm gonna take my right hand to the inside of my left thigh, and I'm gonna take my left hand to the outside, and I'm gonna clasp my hands together. I'm gonna flex my left toe back towards me, and I'm gonna gently pull and feel this stretch in my right hip. So this is an easier position. What I see a lot of people do is they do this. I want you to think about being active with that left leg. And even with the right toes, can be slightly flexed back towards you too. If you can't reach your hands, you can take a towel, you can take a block, because I don't want you like this. I want you to think, bring those shoulders down. So anything that you could put here that you can hold on to with your hands if you can't reach, you can get into the same position and get that same stretch. So no matter where you are, here or here, if you're on your back, you're just simply going to switch sides. If you're not on your back, you're gonna rise yourself up, you're gonna curl your toe, and you're gonna bring it back to down dog and walk it out. And then we're gonna do the other side. So if you're on your back, you just switch sides. If you're in down dog, then we're gonna bring that left leg into bear crawl, lengthen it high, and then bring that left knee towards my left wrist, slide my right leg back. It's the same thing, find this. Find what feels best to you, because everybody might look different. That's the beauty of yoga. You don't have to look like me. You don't have to look like your mom or whoever's doing yoga with you. You want to get in what your body wants. So how you know that is by listening to your body and moving your body. And just, that's just what it is. That's your practice. So it's less about how pretty it looks and more about how you connect your breath with your body and you connect that with your movement. So bring yourself down wherever you need to be. Deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. And then find 3 more breaths. After that third breath, I want you to bring yourself back up and find your down dog. So once you come back to here, I want you to walk it out. And then bring your knees down to your mat. Sit back on your heels and then bring your feet out back in front of you. So we're gonna come down into Shavasana. So if you have any type of pillows or anything that you want to prop yourself up with, even a foam roller, you can put underneath your knees as well. And I just want you to find a space that's like, you're not confined to your little rectangle, right? So take up as much space as you want, because the more space we can take up, it's just, we feel more open, more relaxed. So I want you to find this. Sometimes this is the hardest pose for people. This used to be the hardest pose for me. It would take me an hour of moving just to be able to even be in this position, because I would get so nervous about if I was doing it right. So worry less about if you're doing it right, and worry more about just relaxing into your breath and letting your body relax, and then letting your mind, if you start to notice a lot of those thoughts, you're like, oh, dinner, or this or that, or whatever, you know, it's all going through our minds. So just think about, if you notice it, just think, go back to your breathing. So if you start to notice yourself wander with your thoughts, I want you to take 3 deep breaths and focus on and say to yourself, I am breathing in, I am breathing out. And do that 3 times. And even if you say that to yourself in your mind 3 times, you will notice that you suddenly have forgotten or not thinking or not going down the rabbit hole like you just were. And use that little trick to bring your breath back each and every time. So find a space. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. And allow yourself to settle into the earth Settle into your mat. And give yourself this time to just simply relax. Release. And seal in your practice. Start to relax and release your toes, ankles, soles of your feet. Relax and release the front, back, sides of your shins. And let your kneecaps just sink down a little deeper to your mat, to the foam roller. Really letting the weight of your legs and your feet just start to settle against the back of your body. Take a deep breath into your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Release your thigh bones in the back of your legs. And allow your legs and your feet to be fully supported by the earth that's underneath you. Release that grip, that tightness that we hold in our pelvis, and notice how much more open, relaxed, and released those hips are. Notice your breath going into your belly without any effort. Just like I was saying at the beginning of class, how our breath is involuntary and voluntary. And if you're breathing into your belly super slow, you found that rhythm to your breath through class where now you can just not even think about it and it comes down into your belly. You're into that parasympathetic. You're feeling relaxed and comfortable. Relax the front, back, sides of your ribs. And notice the rise and fall of your breath. Soften your skin over your heart. And allow yourself to be open to giving love, receiving love, and seeing all the love inside of you and all around you. Take a deep breath into your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Release your hands. Relax your fingers. Allow your fingertips to naturally just curl towards the palms. Settle into your forearms, elbows, upper arms. And soften your shoulders down from your ears. Release your jaw. Relax your throat. And allow your tongue to rest naturally on the roof of your mouth. And let those lines we get in our forehead, let those lines relax. Let all the thoughts and worries and fears and to-dos and things that we just keep circling in our minds, let all of those things go. Allow your mind to relax as much as your body is right now. Feel the weight of your body settling in to the back of your body.
and feel your body expand. Feel the front and the sides of your body expanding into the air around you. And allow yourself to take up space. Enjoy that spaciousness as you created inside and all around you. And feel that connection you have to yourself, to the earth, and to other people. So breathe in, love for yourself, and breathe out, love and kindness for others. So take a deep breath all the way down into your belly. And just let everything go. Slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, bringing yourself back into the world where we're not just focusing on our body and breath. And then turn yourself to your right or your left side, your choice. Just curl up in the fetal position. Take a moment just to find a breath or two. And then using the arm that you're not using as a pillow, you're going to use it to push yourself back up to a seated position.
Oh, and I hope that